Um, okay. I was in the military for 10 years, and so I want to um, add my thoughts to this whole transgender homosexual thing. Um, and make an argument for why it would be a good idea to keep it heterosexual. Okay, number one, when you're going through basic, you are sharing a big, especially enlisted, you are sharing communal showers and you're sharing bays. So you're sleeping in these big rooms with 50 other individuals. Now, when it was heterosexual, that was not an issue because you segregate males and females. So you could you go into these communal showers, there's no stalls, it's all out there. But if you have no attraction to your neighbor and you know they don't have any kind of sexual attraction for you, then it's awkward, but it's not there's not that potential for a scandal or for molestation. And the reason why scandals are so bad is, like my TI, my drill instructor, he said to us, he said, sex is bad for morale. And a lot of people may find that's an oxymoron, but it's not, because when people have those kind of relationships, it starts the whole he said, she said, and it starts drama. And instead of people being focused and concerned on the mission, they're now worried about maintaining this relationship. You know, they're now worried about either maintaining a relationship, or if it's a case of a molestation, you know, that's a huge morale killer right there. You know, if someone molested you, it's like, oh man, so you're not worried about the mission at hand. You're now consumed with this crime that you're now a victim of. Okay, the other thing, particularly that transgenderism would muck up, is physical training standards, and the whole question about where would this individual go. Right now, there's even a debate on what defines transgenderism. For instance, a man doesn't have to be castrated in order to be considered a transgender woman. So, and in addition to that, a lot of transgender men are heterosexual. they are attracted to females. So that kind of makes things a little weird, particularly with locker rooms and showering. You know, at that point, honestly, you might as well just go co-ed. What's the difference between me showering with a heterosexual, straight, non-transgender male versus a heterosexual, transgender male or female, or what? Y'all, it's confusing, okay? But also PT standards, physical training standards. Men and women, biologically, atomically, physically, we're different. So in the military, they have different standards for males and different standards for females. And there's this question, okay, what standards does the transgender woman do? Does she have to do 100 push-ups, or can she max out with 50? That's a really good question. I mean, and if it's a woman who's trying to transgender to a male, okay, does she have to do 100, or can she get by with 50? So this whole transgender thing is so ill-defined right now, and the idea that, okay, do we treat this as about identity? Is it equal to race? I don't believe so. I personally know people who were at one point in their life gay, and then the next they become straight, and vice versa. I've also known, you got people who thought they were transgender, and then later, give it a few years, they decided they're not transgender. I mean, so this whole idea about identity and sexual orientation, it's so up in the air. But as far as the military goes, what do they do with physical training and standards? And how do they decide, okay, this person is going to be held to this standard and this person is going to be held to that standard? Do they decide it based on biology and what they know their bodies are capable of doing, or do they decide it based on political correctness? So I totally get these generals, because these generals are saying, look, all this is mucking up the mission. We're so focused on being politically correct and trying to appease everybody's sensitivities, where we just need to focus on the task at hand. And so I get it. I completely support this, and I think it's wrong for the left to demonize people who don't agree with them and not really consider the other side's point of view. So there it is.